here for Miniature Battles. We're going to do an X-Wing battle report. 50 points. Millennium Falcon versus the hacks of the the Empire, and forces of Imperial there. 1 advanced TIE fighter and 3 TIE fighters, 1 being a Night Beast, which is the high of a 5 for the Imperial. Because Chewbacca is the pilot that she took, went on ahead and just let her go first. It was much easier than to try and go back and forth. The rules say that the Imperial has the advantage on that, but just let her go first. Elusiveness, the mercenary co-pilot there, makes a difference in the dodging. Now you're going to find out real quick here in turn 1. She goes and moves and throws an evade token, and she throws evade tokens behind the ship every single turn. And for those of you that haven't played this game, certain ships can do certain things, and evade is not one of the things that the Falcon is very good at. It's listed on the card that you can't take it. There's only an advanced shooting targeting system on it, as well as a focus that you can add to it. But we didn't realize it until like turn 4, and by that time it was already too late, so we just went ahead and let her just continue to have the evades. 4 against 1, so it wasn't really a mind blower there as to how this might or might not turn out. That was one of the mistakes made here as we move forward here. The other mistakes that were made was that she forgot to use the cluster missiles on that, and we didn't account for the elusiveness or the smuggler co-pilot that she had, which also gives her advantages to dodging and things like that. In all of the turns, first 2, I threw evade tokens out on all mine, and then every subsequent turn after that went on ahead and threw focus on it, because my whole objective here was to get up as close as I could to the Falcon and try and bring it down with an extra shot per turn. She gets her first shot there. The Falcon can shoot in 360 degrees, so she can take whatever advantage she wants. So she chooses to shoot. Gets 2 hits on the TIE fighter there, and then I went on ahead and rolled my 3 evade tokens plus the extra one there, and went on ahead and evaded everything, and nothing happened to Night Beast there. So moving right along, there is turn 1 for the Empire. Everybody except for the very rear ships can shoot, so the 2 front guys can get on ahead and get after her, but the rear 2 guys are about 4 lengths of that laser shot out. So went on ahead and shot and had 1 hit there, and the evade happens there, so she didn't have to use the evade token. And then the second guy, the advanced TIE fighter, is shooting here against 5 shields, trying to just bring down some of that. Can't roll with that kind of a die because it's an evade die. Got the hits, but she takes the evade token, uses the evade token on this one, and then on ahead and rolls it out anyway. So she does lose 1 shield, but gets the evade token on 1. So moving on to turn 2, she goes 3 inches lengths to the right, and we kind of had an idea where she was going after that first turn because of all the rocks that were in front of her, and went on ahead and had anticipated that she was going to go that way with just the 1 ship. Went on ahead and went that way as well. The Falcon shoots. I explained to her later on that, you know, the Millennium Falcon can shoot at 360 degrees. You didn't have to continue. You didn't have to start by going that way. But she said she wanted to get around the rocks to be able to get a clear shot at me, and hopefully I would have run into a rock or something like that. But you know, that was the whole purpose for her. But once I started turning and getting everybody angled that direction, it was pretty much a done deal as far as where I was headed, and she wasn't going to be able to get away once I started heading that way. So the best you could hope for was to try and get around the rocks and then come back into the asteroid field if the turns would have allowed for it, but we'll show you what happens there in a minute. Taking the last guy here and moving him up, and one of them actually was out of arc range. I think it was the one there in the middle. It was the I think it was the Academy pilot. He was in his arc of fire was not right, so he couldn't shoot. So only the TIE fighter off to the very left there, and the guy behind the advanced TIE could shoot. She decides to shoot at the target there, and I was explaining to her here that shooting at the very far guy gives a positive green die for dodging to me, because she's shooting from such a far distance, and the theory behind that is that you get a better chance of seeing it. So after I explained this to her, she decided to shoot at the guy closest to her so that I wouldn't get an extra roll, and she wouldn't gain one either, but it was better than trying to shoot at the guy farther away. So she goes on ahead and picks up and goes on ahead and tries to shoot at this guy. He has the evade token on him, as you see there. She goes on ahead and rolls it out, gets 2 hits. So I burn up the evade token there, because the focus token doesn't count for anything on this, so nothing happens to him. And we move on to my shooting phase here. And the first guy, it didn't matter. Like I said, the Imperial normally gets to go first, but it didn't matter. We just decided to let her go first, which is a mistake. But he's out of the arc, as you can see there. And I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was the Obsidian pilot that was in her range, not the Academy pilot. My mistake. The other 2 guys here are in range; they can shoot, and then the far guy kid's out of range as well. He doesn't have the arc, so 2 guys get to shoot at her this turn. And the first guy here, this is the turn. I think I threw a focus token on him this turn. I don't remember why, but anyway, I threw a focus token on him, and I hit with 2 anyway. I took it away, not realizing it. She avoided it anyway, and then that was the end of that. So didn't have to worry about using the focus token. Didn't pay attention to it. So, little mistakes here and there for first battle report. I haven't played Star Wars in quite some time since the game came out. There's the Lambda class ships come out and stuff since the last time I played, and so I haven't had a chance to. So this is the first time back. Hit one there on the other with the other shot there for the pilot, and I believe she dodges this as well. Not much happening. Yeah, she dodged that as well. And then in turn 3 here is when we really start picking up pace as far as the shooting is concerned. She leaves the evade token, which, like I say, you can't do, and you can't use the evade token where she's about to land. So she was trying to avoid the rocks and winds up hitting one, not thinking that you needed to overfly that with a 3 at least to try and get over it, or maybe go straight and then go around it. But lesson learned. She's a young player. She's played the game a few times, but this is the first time she wanted to play us, so okay. So she loses a shield there by her own accord, and then I go on ahead and move accordingly. Now, movement in this game goes back. It's supposed to go back and forth. My Night Beast pilot was supposed to get the first turn, then Chewbacca there in the Falcon was supposed to get the second turn. Then it was going to go back to my Avenger Squadron pilot, my Obsidian pilot, and my Academy pilot last. But it was just easier to let her go first. I mean, it was much easier for purposes of this game. Plus, like I said, she hasn't played it that much, so. And I'd forgotten about the rules of going first, and people with the same number go at the same time, and everything else. So, like I said, first battle report back, whatever. Moving everybody up here, and then she's. I managed to avoid the rocks, except I did the exact same thing on the Avenger Squadron pilot as she did with the Falcon there. I didn't account for that rock. I thought I could get around it, and when I put the 3 out there, I realized about halfway through the move that I wasn't going to get around that. So I land right on top of it, and any part of your base that lands on it, you can fly through asteroids, but you can't land on them. If you land on them, then you got to roll for damage. You can fly through them because technically it's a 3-dimensional space, so you should be there. The assumption is you can go around it, but since I stopped on it, they count that as a hit, or landing on it. So take a damage there for him, and he goes down one point on his damage chart. So he's got 2 left, and then she decides that she's going to go ahead and start shooting here, and the closest guy gives her the extra die, so that's exactly what she winds up doing here, having learned that from the last one. So 4 attacks, 2 hits, and I went on ahead and rolled my 3 evade dice. I had focus tokens here, so 2 evades, was able to get away with 1 there, and not take any damage, which was fortunate for me, being as close. My turn to shoot, and there was 2 hits, and I don't believe anything was a critical. Yeah, it was 1 critical. No, 3 hits, I'm sorry, but none of them were critical. She uses the die to get rid of that, and then uses the evade token to get rid of the other one. So she takes a damage point, and she loses 1 more of her shields, which takes her down to 2. And my next group of shooting here, he's not within. I don't think he was within 1. I think he was just outside of it. So went on ahead and rolled the 3 just for sake of argument here, instead of trying to eyeball it even closer than it was. Like I said, it's 4 against 1. So 1 hit, and she rolls it out and misses. So she loses 1 more shield. She's down to the final shield of the ship before it starts to go into her ship points. And I get 2 more hits, and those were criticals, and we did not see. I didn't realize it right away. So she loses the shield and then just adds a damage card there, and not realizing that it was a critical. You're supposed to read the damage card and then move on. So the focus token there wound up being a hit. She wound up rolling it out, and it was an evade, so it wasn't a big deal. So we moved on to turn 4. So mistakes there is the criticals, not accounting for criticals, which I totally forgot about until like the last turn. But as you can see here, she's trying to come back around, and of course now she's out far enough in front of me that I'm able to kind of maneuver and dink around and get around her, and you'll see what happens here in a minute. The way that this shakes out is that she forgot to use the cluster missiles, which would have given her, and the elusiveness and stuff we forgot to account for, would have made this game a lot closer than it was as it comes around, because in the shooting phase she could have taken her regular shots plus those cluster missiles in 2 different turns, and you'll see here in a minute why that becomes important, because she would have been able to get out of range. Didn't use them, mistake made, and you know, it's a game, it's a learning experience, and everything else. He does a Corrigan turn on this move because I was trying to get him to far enough behind him, but close enough that he could turn around and take a shot without running into the ship. So I went straight ahead instead of making that that left there. As you can see, I would have hit him. So it was easier to do that and then try and take the shot from behind. He also gets a stress token, and it's about 1/8 of an inch in front of that other model, so it's kind of nice that both of them still were able to shoot. I was fortunate there. Unfortunate in some of my shooting, but unfortunate that he didn't touch it, and because neither one of them could have shot him. As the last of the ships here are turning, she had asked if you can take, I forgot what the question was. There was a question about running into the rocks, if the ship could still move the next turn, or you had to take it. And I said, yeah, it's just an accounting for damage, and she had forgotten, and I had forgotten. I had to look it up. So I moved him off the rock, and that becomes an issue here in a minute because of the shots taken. As you can see, the stress token going down. She takes her first shot there. She throws another evade token, which I said the whole time we realized that was a mistake later on. Takes her pot shots at the guy right behind her. She's trying to take the guy down that already had some damage to it from the previous turn there that she hit, that I missed the evade on. I didn't realize it, and we added the damage this turn, or maybe it was this turn that she hit it. But at any rate, she rolls it out and does three hits, and I go on ahead and roll and have 1 evade, and I had focus tokens there, so only the 1 evade did anything. So he takes 2 points of damage right out of the gate. Yeah, it was this turn. So he takes the 2 points, and that went to the upside pilot, and she was going to try and knock him out first, this is why the cluster missiles would have been effective, because she could have literally taken him out. But like I said, forgot about it, learning experience, moving on. So have 2 ships there with damage. Taking my shots, and as you can see, that moves into a hit. It was a focus, and it moves into 3 hits. And in here, this turn, I think this turn alone, loses the last ship. I'm sorry, gets another damage card, and we start really pounding the ship, the Falcon, this turn with just shots, because they're so close. Like I said, that's the whole idea, is to get as close as possible to a single ship, to try and get as many hits as possible. As you can see there, only 1 turned over on this for the hits, and she misses, so it takes another damage, and it was pretty much a foregone conclusion as to what's going to happen here. The lessons learned on this were you have to really pay attention to the details, because details in this, when you're playing with 1 ship at 50 points, makes a huge difference. She gets an evade there, but she also takes the damage, so it's just 4 of 8. There's the 5th one going down now. And she tries to move again after I take my last bit of shots here, but it's for naught, because you already see she's used the evade token that she wasn't entitled to here. And this is a flip turn that she tries to do, a Corrigan turn, which is the other thing I had asked her. I said, you could have gone around the rock there instead of doing a turnaround and trying to get away from me and shoot behind as you come around, because I wouldn't have been able to get around that rock. But she wanted to turn and face, which didn't make sense to me, and we had talked about it after, and I said you should have gone around the rock, because I wouldn't have been able to shoot her with that ship that just took a left, and the other ones here might have been out of range. So lessons learned. But all in all, it was a fun game. The way that the game shook out, when you miss rules and things like that and you make mistakes, it's not a good thing for either player, because it's kind of disheartening when you're trying to do this. So she takes her last bit of shots there, but as you can see, without having those cluster missiles, I mean, like I said, it would have made a huge difference of going around the corner using the cluster missiles and trying to get rid of him. And she tried to shoot at the farthest guy, which was the guy that had the damage anyway, and nothing happened to him. So that was the end of that, and then it was my turn to just go on ahead and finish off Mr. Chewbacca and the YT 1300 there, and send my opponent on their merry way. They've asked for a rematch, and I don't know if I said, well, if we're going to do another game, I'm going to have to do a little bit better on the planning there, because this one didn't go very well, and you got to make sure you pay attention. But at any rate, if you have any questions down in the if you're on the web page there, go down to the contact section, and if you have any rules questions or rules updates you can give me, let me know. Contact section. If you're on the YouTube website, our website is miniaturebattles.com, and if you would like to go there and check out what we have, it'd be great. This is Paul from Miniature Battles saying bye-bye, Chewbacca, and happy wargaming.